Hello guys, how are you? Let me know if you can hear me. You can hear me well. We have a Truth Seeker. Hello Cryptex and Jenny, and one and all. Just stopping in to say hello to everyone. Thank you so much, Truth Seeker. Let me see who's here. Jamie is here. How are you, Jamie? I love this song, of course, Enya. Remember the original release? That was years ago. Awesome. Yeah, we are old. We are old. It's the perfect rendition. I agree with you. Jenny 867. What is 867? Jenny in the block? What's that? Hibernation. Hibernation. I like it. Okay. Tonight I don't have too much to say. I'm just gonna talk to you guys. If someone wants to call, this is the. I'm gonna drop the link here. So I'm gonna play the last video that was made by the Kurt TV about Delphi. I think it was cool. I have a couple of things to say about it. I don't know if I'm gonna have a strike, copyright strike. Let's say. Let's see. But anyways, I'm gonna play it. If someone wants to call, feel free. You are welcome. Bienvenido. Benvenuti. So let's play it. No more protocol. Hey, I have to stop here. What are you talking about? The new doc that came out today on Rick? No, I don't know. Tell me about it. Tell me about it because I don't know what are you talking about. Ah, thank you all eyes. I don't know if it is gonna be a good stream. Uh, I have nothing prepared for tonight, so I'm just gonna be rambling here. But I'm curious about this. What do you mean? The new? What is that? The new documentary that came out today on Rick, or the new document? What is that? Anyways, it's interesting. So while I'm waiting for your answer, let's continue with this video from Kurt TV. So a quick stop here. Tomorrow I'm gonna talk about the testimony of Skip Jansen. Can't hear it? I know. Oh shit! Sorry. My bad again as usual. Excuse me. Gonna play it from the beginning. This is Cryptex. Always doing boo boos. So, anyways, tomorrow I'm gonna talk about the testimony of Skip Jansen during the contempt hearings. I'm very interested in the whole situation surrounding fix solves in this case. I don't feel comfortable at all. I think he's a spin doctor. I know that some people are not gonna like what I'm saying right now, but we have to dig into that situation. It's not normal. When uh, when I showed that I wanted to do that hearing or that video about Skip uh, talking during the process about that, Skip himself contacted me, and we had, I don't know how to say that. Okay, I have a good relationship with Skip. He's a good guy. I believe in his words. He told me that I'm being a little bit negative when I talk about Fig, and it's true. He's right. I accept that. I'm negative about that. But this is because I don't buy that bullshit. Something's going on there. So in that content hearing, there's a contradiction there. You believe in Skip words? I don't think he's committing any perjury at all. I believe in his words. Now we have the other side, Fixol saying that everything is just bullshit. So we have to make a choice there. You know what I mean? To me, it's very fishy, the whole situation involving Fixolves. Sorry for that. I know a lot of people here in this community respect him. He's a respected content creator, but to me there's something really fishy in that whole situation. So if he was in contact with the prosecution, what was the agenda behind that situation? And I accept. I have something against him. I don't like his behavior. I think something's wrong there. Something's not transparent. There's an agenda again. So I'm gonna do that streaming tomorrow about that content hearing and about the testimony of Skip Johnson in that sense. And again, I tend to believe in Skip Johnson's words. I don't think he was committing any perjury. So, anyways, if someone wants to call again, please, the link is here. So I'm gonna play the Core TV video for just to trigger some discussion here, right?
Hello, okay. Who might think we went out? Abigail Joy Williams.
Getting scared now. It's getting cold.
Liberty Rose Lynn German.
Missing, abducted, we don't know for sure.
Last seen at the High Bridge in Delphi, Indiana.
Delphi is just not one of those places where any of us ever thought that something like this would happen.
Despite that video, despite that audio, nothing happens, seemingly, for 6 years.
The judge did find probable cause for arrest of Richard Allen.
You're not going to find anything that ties me to those murders, so I'm not really that concerned.
The state built their case on 3 things: bridge guy, a bullet, and the brutal murders of 2 young girls.
I didn't murder 2 little girls.
Kathy Allen had called Brad and said something's wrong with Ricky. He's saying some crazy stuff.
I killed Abby and Libby.
The murder of 2 young girls in 2017.
We have a troll tonight. Let's welcome to the troll. Anyways, Truth Seeker, if you want to call, you're welcome. So just click on the link.
Forever changed the small town of Delphi, Indiana. It took 5 years for investigators to track down the killer. And for some, there are still lingering questions about the case. I'm Ted Rollins, and this is Victim to Verdict. "75 miles northwest of Indianapolis, surrounded by fields of corn and soybeans, sits Delphi, Indiana. It's one of those places that before February of 2017, most people had never heard of, which is the very reason many people love to live there.
Delphi is a small town. The downtown is 2 blocks, literally a main street, old courthouse.
It's always been a tight community. It's been a place with a nice courthouse square, really proud of its trails.
The Delphi Historic Trails are a series of walking trails popular with hikers and walkers. Back in 2017, there was also an old rickety railroad bridge called the Monon High Bridge, 63 feet above Deer Creek. For kids living in Delphi, that bridge was a magnet, a place to go hang out with friends.
I grew up watching people post on their Snapchat stories, like going to the bridge to like read a book or things like that, and they'd have their feet like swinging over the edge. Dropping your kids off at the trails was just something that you did. It was just what kids did.
On the afternoon of February 13th, 2017, 14-year-old Liberty German and 13-year-old Abigail Williams are dropped off at the trails by Libby's older sister. It was a day off from school, and the plan was for Libby's dad to pick them up at 3 o'clock. Cynth Rossi grew up with Abby and Libby.
It was around 2 p.m. I saw the picture of Abby on the bridge on their Snapchat stories, and I immediately just knew that something was wrong.
Libby's dad, Derek, gets there about 3 p.m., and there's no sign of the girls. Libby isn't answering her phone, and by 5:30, law enforcement is called.
Infiltrate the missing juvenile. Liberty Rose Lynn German. Second juvenile. Abigail Joyce Williams.
Word spread quickly that help was needed. That
Just a quick stop here. I received an email from a creator called Hunting Evil, and he was telling me that in that email, it was a very random, erratic email. I don't know what to say about it. He was telling me that in my channel, I'm being infiltrated by people related to how can I say? Let's say infiltrated by criminals here. That some of you guys are actually, I don't know how to say that, bad actors here in this community. And anyways, I don't know what to say about that. Maybe it's right. How can we know? I don't know you guys. But according to him, some of you guys are like, let's say if you're a woman here and you have a husband, your husband is like a predator and you are covering for him. I don't know. You can go to his channel to take your own conclusions about it, but that's what he's telling me. And anyways, I don't know you guys, so just to let you know that this is what is happening in my email. So let's come back to the video.
these girls needed to be found. Hundreds of people turned out and searched through the night. It was a full town effort.
Missing, abducted, we don't know for sure. Cell phone has been pinging around town here. There's a cell phone tower, but the ping was last noted about 5 or 6 hours ago. They say the phone's now dead.
Ravines, ditches, trash cans for phones, any sign of girls and anything we can find.
That's funny, all eyes. Yeah, I agree. At the same time, you are in the CIA, but you are under investigation by the FBI. I understand your point. So, yeah. Anyways, again, please, guys, I know that maybe you are subscribed to All Eyes. If you are not, subscribe to her channel. Great content. And thanks to All Eyes again for the documents she was able to get available for us. Yeah, great job again. I cannot stop saying that. So, Truth Seeker, he said about shit about me to Cryptex watch shit with him. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just telling you guys. He sent me a very erratic email. I had to use ChatGPT to understand his email, but anyways. And again, maybe he's right. I don't know. I have like 2,000 subscribers. Let's say 1,500 subscribers are great, good people, but maybe it's possible that some of you are not that great. Just saying. Who knows? You know, who knows? Mustang is here. Mustang is anti-pro Allen. So anyways, there's space and there's room for everyone here. So let's continue talking about this case.
Oh, upset, confused, obviously very distraught. Just worried. All I want to do is have the girls get home safe.
I think one of them just like fell off the bridge and maybe broke.
So what's the line between erratic and erotic? It's my accent. Okay, whatever. Just kidding.
Their leg, and then the other one went down to help them, and maybe they got hurt.
All options are on the table. Did they run away? Did they go to a party? Did they fall off the bridge? Did they get injured? No one had any idea what had happened to them. The official search was halted that night and picked up the next morning.
The next day, with the benefit of sunlight, it wouldn't take long to find Abby and Libby, about a quarter mile from the bridge on private property.
We have found 2 bodies about a mile east of town. We are investigating this as a crime scene. We suspect foul play.
Are there any either suspects or persons of interest being questioned at this time?
We have not gotten that far into the investigation, so I cannot comment one way or the other.
So along with the bodies, investigators find a video on Libby's cell phone, and it shows part of the girl's final moments. It's 43 seconds long, and it shows Abby on the bridge with a man walking behind her, and he's wearing a blue jacket, walking with his head down. And then when Abby gets to the end of the bridge, you hear her and Libby talking.
There's no path going there, so we have to go down here.
So then at the very end of that video, you do hear a male's voice, and it's really hard to make out what he's saying, but investigators were able to clean that up a little bit and then edit that along with the picture of him walking on the bridge, and that's what they released to the public.
Who was this person? Was he a trucker passing through? Could he have been a drifter? Was he a serial killer? This is really when the people in town started to pay attention and start to look around.
I had known that Abby and Libby were active on some kind of sites where you could meet new people. And part of me thought that that might have something to do with it, that maybe they had met someone online.
Like, obviously, right? Like, come on, of course. Let's repeat that.
Seemingly for 6 years.
The judge did find probable cause for arrest of Richard Allen.
You're not going to find anything that ties me to those murders, so I'm not really that concerned.
The state built their case on 3 things: bridge guy, a bullet, and the brutal murders of 2 young girls.
I didn't murder 2 little girls.
Kathy Allen had called
A place to go hang out with friends.
I grew up watching people post on their Snapchat stories, like going to the bridge to like read a book or things like that, and they'd have their feet like swinging over the edge. Dropping your kids off at the trails was just something that you did. It was just what kids did.
On the afternoon of February 13th, 2017, 14-year-old Liberty German and 13-year-old Abigail Williams are dropped off at the trails by Libby's older sister. It was a day off from school, and the plan was for Libby's dad to pick them up at 3 o'clock. Synth Rossi grew up with Abby and Libby.
It was around 2 p.m. I saw the picture of Abby on the bridge on their Snapchat stories, and I immediately just knew that something was wrong.
Libby's dad, Derek, gets there about 3 p.m., and there's no sign of the girls. Libby isn't answering her phone, and by 5:30, law enforcement is called.
Infiltrate to missing juvenile Liberty Rose Lynn German, second juvenile Abigail Joy Williams.
Word spread quickly that help was needed, that these girls needed to be found. Hundreds of people turned out and searched through the night. It was a full town effort.
Missing, abducted, we don't know for sure. Cell phone has been pinging around town here. There's a cell phone tower, but the ping was last noted about 5 or 6 hours ago. They say the phone's now dead.
Ravines, ditches, trash cans for phones, any sign of girls and anything we can find.
Oh, upset, confused, obviously very distraught.
Some kind of sites where you could meet new people. And part of me thought that that might have something to do with it, that maybe they had met someone online.
One of the first suspects they look at is Ron Logan. He's the property owner where the girls were found, and he did have a criminal record. And in many people's opinion, he resembled the man in Libby's video known as Bridge Guy. In fact, a forensic artist made a comparison of pictures of Ron Logan with that Bridge Guy image, and it is pretty similar. And almost immediately after the bodies of Abby and Libby are found, Ron Logan's out there doing interviews with local media.
Who would have thought they'd let their children out to do something special that day, take a trip down, and then turn out with a disaster like this?
In an affidavit to get a search warrant for Ron Logan's property, an FBI special agent writes that she believes he is likely the killer of the girls and that evidence is going to be found in his home.
There are a couple key pieces of the Ron Logan probable cause affidavit. Perhaps the most compelling part of it is that he constructed an alibi for a crime that had not yet been discovered.
Ron Logan told police that while Abby and Libby were on the bridge, he was buying tropical fish 25 miles away at this aquarium store. Investigators believe the murders happened between 2:30 and 4, but the receipt from the fish store shows that Logan...
So this is like the perfect fishy situation, right? Ron Logan went to Lafayette to buy fish. He was fabricating an alibi. So fishy, fishy, fishy. That's my favorite word in this case. I think that the Ron Logan window or angle was never closed in this case. I feel the same about the Keegan Klein angle. It was never closed. We're gonna see something that I find interesting in the interview of Richard Allen, or the interrogation or the interrogatory, when Jerry Holman is asking him about were you the guy conducting the girls to someone else, or were you the killer? Something in that sense. We're gonna hear about it soon in this video. And to me, this is a very special or specific question. Again, suggesting that there are multiple perpetrators here. Why was he saying, were you the guy conducting the girls to other people, or were you the killer? It's a very specific question. We're gonna hear about it soon. Jerry Holman is a bad investigator. He's a bad interrogator. And we can see how he's giving us clues about what was really happening here. In the mind of Jerry Holman, in my opinion, he's positive about multiple perpetrators here in this crime. So I'm just gonna keep playing the video here, and let's talk about that at the right moment.
Didn't buy the fish until 5:21.
Is that enough time to commit the murders and get to the fish store? That affidavit also says that his phone was in the proximity of that crime scene twice the night of the murders and after the state believes the killer left the scene. I asked Logan about that in a series of phone interviews.
Says I'm the murderer, and there will be blood evidence in my house from the murder.
But I didn't take that to mean that you killed the girls in your house.
Yeah, he said that that's a dump site down there.
Ron Logan, who died in early 2022, was never charged in the case, but he was also never cleared. Coming up, it would take...
But if I remember well, he was cleared by investigator Cathy Shank, no? So I don't know if my recollection is good here, but he was cleared or covered. Maybe my memory is not working well tonight. What about this guy, guys? What about this piece of shit here? This is, come on. This is the face of evil, fooling everyone in this community. This is a fucking dangerous person. And just because he's fat, just because he's just a loser, everyone is thinking that he's just no one here. Come on, guys, for real. This guy is the one behind this crime. I know you disagree with me, but when I see what happened with this piece of shit, I cannot understand how everyone in this community, not everyone, because I know that some of you guys, you have common sense, but this guy was the one behind the crime, for real. Everyone points to Keegan Klein. And I know you disagree with me, but it just, looking at his face just makes me mad, for real. So, P of A.
Almost 5 years for another potential break in the case.
Did you have anything to do with the murders?
Libby was a fun, outgoing person. She had lots of friends, lots of family who loved her. She liked going out, playing sports. Anything that she was doing something, she would do it. Abby would do anything with her friends. She loved photography, playing sports as well. They were just a fun couple of girls.
In 2019, 2 years had passed since the brutal murders of 14-year-old Liberty German and 13-year-old Abigail Williams. The girls' bodies were found in a wooded area not far from the Monon High Bridge in Delphi, Indiana. Libby was found nude, covered in blood. Abby was dressed, but in Libby's clothes. Both had cuts to their throats. Detectives had that chilling video found on Libby's phone of a man they were calling Bridge Guy, but no one was in custody. That's when investigators released a new sketch. This time, it was a much younger-looking suspect than the one released in 2017, right after the murders, which ended up raising more questions than answers.
Everything here is exactly that. More questions than answers. How can you explain that the sketches were not allowed to be part of the process? It's just insane. It's just insane. Everything here is fishy. Everything here is smelly. Everything here is bad. Oh.
I thought to myself, oh my gosh, they have no clue who did it. If they don't know, if the age range is from 16 to 40, I was like, do they know anything about him? Do they have anything at all?
Then, in late 2021, nearly 5 years after the murders, a potential break in the case.
Detectives with the Carroll County Sheriff's Office and the Indiana State Police have uncovered an online profile named.
This announce was great, and I don't think we paid too much attention to the words that was this guy saying. You have to be very, how can I say, pay attention to his words, because a lot of clues are here in the words of this guy. Seriously, let's continue playing this.
Anthony Schatz.
This was an absolutely huge development. So many people thought this case was never going to be solved. And then they find this online profile that was used to lure 12 to 14-year-old girls to send nude photographs. One of the friends of that account, Libby German, and the man behind.
quick stop here, guys. Please tell me who is the one here in the middle of this frame, let's say. I know this is Libby. I know this is Libby. This is Libby also? I don't recognize her. Anyways, maybe it's not important, but I don't know. It's Libby? Anyways, I'm just curious.
The account, Kegan Klein, lives in Indiana, just 40 minutes from Delphi. I talked to him when he was in jail, and he denied having anything to do with Abby or Libby's murder. Are you aware whether you may have talked to Libby on the 13th?
That's what they said. That's what the police told me.
That you did?
Yeah.
And do you have any recollection of that?
No, not at all.
Have
I told them 100 times.
Did you have anything to do with the murders of Abby or Libby?
Not at all. And I've gave up my DNA, a hair follicle test. I've done everything they wanted me to.
Kegan Klein ended up pleading guilty to dozens of charges related to that child pornography and solicitation case, but he was never charged with anything related to Abby or Libby.
So as promising as the Anthony Shots angle seemed, investigators were back to square one. Then in late summer 2022, a police volunteer named Kathy Shank found an overlooked tip in a desk drawer. A man named Richard Allen said that he was at the trails the same day as Abby and Libby.
Kathy Shank, what a joke, what a shame, really. Perjury, that was 100% perjury, and this is really unacceptable. This is really, I don't know what type of word I can use here in regards of Kathy Shank, but seriously, just sad, she was the hero. She was the hero of this case. He was the investigator who solved the case, right? He was committing perjury and nothing happened. Perjury, you walk free with perjury here in this case, right? Yeah.
The tip was never followed up on.
Richard Allen is a 45-year-old married father who works at the local CVS drugstore, and he has no criminal history at all. He's from a tiny town not far from Delphi called Mexico, Indiana.
That's where Ricky Allen lived, over there in that yellow house when early on. And I think when he first got married, they moved in there, if I remember right. And I've known Ricky his entire life. He's a quiet kind of, he's very polite, always has been respectful to me. He'll go out of his way to say hi, just to say hello to me. Great. Can't see literature.
In October of 2022, investigators bring Richard Allen in for questioning, and he likely doesn't know it, but it's clear they think he's the killer of Abby and Libby.
What do you think, guys, about Barbara? She has a bias, and that's fine. I have a bias about Kegan Klein. To me, Kegan is the one here, and I think for Barbara, Ron Logan is the one, and that's why I don't think bad about Barbara McDonald, because anyways, that door was never closed. The Ron Logan door was never closed. Remember that video that was made by R&M production? When we see the pictures of the bathroom of Ron Logan being redecorated, let's say, remodelation, just a couple of weeks after the murders, like trying to hide some evidence there. So this is really weird. Ron Logan fabricating an alibi. Ron Logan's phone pinging near to the crime scene, near to the bridge at the time of the event. So a lot of questions that remain unanswered, right?
Like I said, I think I was there probably. It could have been a little before.
Richard is relaxed. He's thinking that he's helping out. He wants to help out. Rick's a nice guy. He wants to be helpful. And I don't think Rick was thinking that way at all. I think Rick was thinking, oh, this is just part of the process.
We have a picture of your car that shows it was going out to the trail that day. Okay? You want me to say that that's my car? We looked at it matches everything. That is your car. Okay.
You see almost Richard Allen's eyes and his brain start churning of, I'm being looked at as the suspect in this case.
After more than an hour of this initial interview, things would shift dramatically as investigators confront Richard Allen with the printout of the bridge guy image captured on Libby's phone.
The question needs to be, is that you? If it was taken with the girl's phone, that is absolutely, I mean, it's not me, but I never have met these girls before, so even if I thought it looked like me, if it was taken with the girl's phone, there's no way it could be.
But at that point, it seemed like he felt like he was in some trouble.
So this is the situation we're at, okay? Basically this. Either you were out there to do this to the girls, or you were out there to be able.
That's a very interesting part of this interview, of this interrogation. And this is why, or this is another element pointing to multiple perpetrators. Look at this question. Mullin is gonna ask to Richard Allen. It's a very specific question here. Look at this. So either you were out there to do this to the girls, so either you were the killer, or you were out there to be able to introduce the girls to somebody else. This question is just very specific. Law enforcement, they know 100% that there were multiple perpetrators. Come on, guys. This is just clear as crystal. This is another element pointing to that scenario. It's not, I don't know what do you think, but look at this question. It's just, I don't know, it makes me just mad. They know that this crime was not committed by one single person. And we talk about the tentacles. We know we have no defensive injuries. The Keegan Klein's angle was never closed. The Jerry Holman, he cannot talk about the Wabash River search today. We don't know why. They know it's clear. Come on, it's clear that this crime was committed by multiple perpetrators. This question again is another main element pointing to that. I don't know if I'm just reading too much between the lines, but to me this is clear. Let's repeat this part of the interrogation again.
If it was taken with the girl's phone, there's no way it could be.
But at that point, it seemed like he felt like he was in some trouble.
So this is the situation we're at, okay? Basically this. Either you were out there to do this to the girls, or you were out there to be able to introduce the girls to somebody else. Okay. Good luck finding anything that points in that direction. I mean, it's not me. You're not going to make me believe it's me. You're not going to find anything that ties me to those.
I don't know, guys. That was too fast. But you can see that they were trying to to get some answers from Richard Allen in regards of other actors. That was like a very specific question. I want to play it again, sorry, but it's a very important question here. Sorry.
Believe it to me, you're not going to find anything that ties me to those murders, so I'm not really that concerned.
He has lived in town that has been searching.
Somebody else. Okay. Good luck finding anything. So this is the situation we're at, okay? Basically this. Either you were out there to do this to the girls, or you were out there to be able to introduce the girls to somebody else. Okay. Good luck finding anything that points in that direction. I mean...
And you can see the inflection when Mullin is asking that question. Or, come on, it's obvious. They know that there are a lot of people, or at least, in my opinion, at least 3 people involved in this crime. And that question was to try to confirm that hypothesis. But they couldn't do it. Because Richard Allen, he was very consistent during that interrogation. So they were not able to get anything from Allen in that interview.
It's not me. You're not going to make me believe it's me. You're not going to find anything that ties me to those murders, so I'm not really that concerned.
He has lived in town that has been searching for an answer for years and understands just being asked the question is going to be enough to make the town turn on him.
And you've lost my trust. I'm not going to talk to you anymore, but now you've pissed me off. Well, I'm sorry about that. Okay, are you arresting me? Well, I really want to try to get this thing worked out, okay? I want to try to get this thing worked out. Am I free to leave or not? You've always been free to leave. Thank you. You're
Coming up.
And my gun wasn't 6 inches away from the dead girl's foot.
The bullet and a bombshell moment in court.
The person who sat next to me said, holy.
4 dead students.
None of it seemed to make any sense.
He was evil.
But devastation.
All I could do was scream.
Victim to Verdict with Ted Rowlands. New episode Saturday night, 8 Eastern and Pacific.
Only on Court TV.
Only on Court TV.
Abigail Williams and Liberty German are laser focused on a local pharmacy technician named Richard Allen. He's been questioned once already, and his home has been searched. Investigators would reach out to Allen again, telling him he's free to come in and pick up some of the items collected in the search of his home. That turned out to be a ruse.
So he thinks he's coming in to pick up his car and to go home, and that was going to be it. But turns out he was there to answer some more questions, this time with lead investigator Jerry Holman.
Any of these knives or the gun, did you have that the day that you recall having that with you on the day of the 13th when you're out there on the bridge?
I'm gonna get some ice coming back soon. I'm gonna play the video while going from my vitamin.
You don't remember if you did or you didn't?
I didn't. They lied to him about giving him his vehicle back. They've lured him in, and they immediately, Holman immediately takes him into this side room and starts firing questions at him.
So we took your gun, your 40 cal SIG, and we sent it down there to the lab to have it matched with an item that we located on February the 14th when we found the girls.
Okay.
And that item was a 40 caliber Winchester round. We found that at the scene.
Okay.
The extraction marks on that round match your gun.
Okay.
So,
Well, it turns very quickly. He is accused almost right off the bat.
oh my God, I didn't do anything. I didn't murder 2 little girls. I didn't help somebody murder 2 little girls. I wasn't involved in, what'd you say, scheming or whatever. I wasn't involved with these 2 girls in any way, shape, or form. Never even seen them before.
He responded like anybody that gets accused of something that's not true would respond. How am I supposed to respond to that? It's not true. It can't be my bullet.
Jerry Holman says something along the lines of like, I don't think you're a bad person. And Richard Allen's response is just so perfect.
I don't think you're a bad person. Neither does she. What kind of good person kills 2 people?
The only thing that ties Richard Allen to the crime scene is this single unspent bullet. The problem is, Abby and Libby weren't shot.
Listen to me, Rick. I don't believe you should be the fall guy. But all the evidence, you say you're out there, we have witnesses out there, we have your vehicle, we have experts. We have experts that say that's you on the video and that's your voice on the video. Okay. Experts, not me. I'm not. I got you.
When Richard Allen showed up that day, he brought his wife Kathy with him, and they take her in another room and interview her there. But at one point during his interrogation, they bring her in, and it's fascinating to watch them together.
Hey, baby. Yeah. All right, baby.
The worst thing I ever heard here in this case, or I don't know, I was just very disgusted about the way Jerry Holman talked about Kathy Allen and about the girls in this interrogation, in this interrogatory, because he was saying something in this sense. Your fucking wife and those fucking girls. So Jerry Holman, he has some garbage in his brain for real. He's just I don't know what term I should use to describe him, but it's just bad. The way he referred to Richard Allen's wife and to the girls in that interrogation is just disgusting, for real.
It's gonna be all right.
And it's to create tension between those 2 and hope that that's somehow going to cause Richard Allen to admit to something that he didn't do, and it didn't work either.
How did a bullet from your gun get out there?
I don't know.
Because they said it came from our gun.
I know that's what they're saying. Believe me, that's what they're telling me.
But how did it get there?
I don't know.
They said there was one in your box above your dresser that matched it.
They showed me that picture too. I can't explain it. And I don't.
I can't either. They keep asking me and I don't know how to answer that.
You start to see this sort of conversation between Kathy and Richard about her.
So at this point, it's clear that law enforcement, they didn't have anything against Richard Allen, and actually they needed a confession. That was the only way to convict Richard Allen, to have that confession. Even the jurors, they said that the bullet circumstantial evidence or direct evidence, let's say, it was not a big deal to convict Richard Allen. The whole conviction was related to the confessions. And how can you give any credibility to those confessions when this guy was there during 13 months, more than 1 year under solitary confinement. So again, this is bad. And I'm not, I really, guys, I disagree with you in a lot of points here in this case. You know, I know that you are very pro Allen, anti prosecution. I'm like in the middle, let's say. I'm very anti pro prosecution. I don't like the way the state behaved in this case, but at the same time, I don't want to be fooled by Allen. Seriously, I know this is not a popular opinion, but I agree with you guys that he didn't have a fair process. He didn't have a fair trial here. So I'm very critic with law enforcement. This investigation was very fishy. This investigation was bad. And this is, I don't know what to say here, guys. There's food for discussion here. I know that we are very passionate. There's a lot of passion in this case, but let's continue here.
Asking questions. You said this. You said this. Why'd you say that?
I told them I was on the bridge. I went out to the first trestle.
Oh, okay.
That first
I
thing
don't
that
remember you telling me that. He told me, so I told him you weren't on it, but I didn't.
it doesn't. Hon, you're not in any trouble. You didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. Huh?
I didn't know you were on it. I'm sorry.
Well, don't worry about it. Hon. Huh?
You told me you weren't, so I just was.
No, I told you that I walked.
Okay.
I love you, baby.
I think that makes everybody think, wait, did he tell his wife he wasn't on the bridge? So then I think more questions started unfolding of, did he actually tell his wife he wasn't on the bridge? Is she emotional and she's questioning everything?
I'm telling you, I can't explain something.
And I'm telling you, the analysts explain it. You can't get past this.
Can you please let my wife out?
Avoid me. Come on, Captain.
I love you, baby.
And another weird stuff here. There are a lot of cuts in that video. You can see that during this interrogation, there are like black screen shots, let's say. So you have the counter in the interrogation video, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. And at one point, there's a black cut. Why is that? I don't understand. And there's a lot of black cuts there. I don't know what are they trying to hide. I don't know, guys, and it's not just a matter of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. It's a lot of time that is not presented in to the public. I don't know why. I don't understand. It's not normal. It's not normal, for real.
Can I kiss her?
Yeah, kiss her. I will do the right thing, Kathy. Tell him to do the right thing.
By the end, he puts his hands out and says, just arrest me. And that's pretty much what happened.
I'm done talking. Arrest me.
Happy to. Be happy to, because I tried to help you and you wouldn't do it.
Oh, you're helping me.
Guilty, and I know it, and I'll prove it.
Okay.
They didn't have it. And I think that's what they were trying to do, was they were trying to get evidence. It's one really evil way to do it. But that's just speculation. I can't come up with a reason why they continue to treat Richard Allen so differently than any other individual in the Indiana Department of Corrections.
Richard Allen is arrested on a Wednesday, and at this point, the public has no idea that any of this is going on. And they wait until the following Monday, which is Halloween, to have a press conference at a local church.
Today is not a day to celebrate, but the arrest of Richard M. Allen of Delphi on 2 counts of murder is sure a major step in leading to the conclusion.
Sorry, my cell phone died, so I don't have a camera right now. I'm charging my cell phone. It's coming back soon. For now, let's listen to Mr. Tentacles.
Of this long-term and complex investigation.
My first reaction, I think everyone's first reaction was, who? We had no idea who this was.
When the name Richard Allen came up, at least for us here at the station, we thought, who is this? So there was questions because it wasn't a name that we had heard. It wasn't a name that surrounded the investigation in all the years prior since 2017.
My name is Nicholas McClellan. I'm the Carroll County prosecutor. Mr. Allen has had his initial hearing. He's entered a preliminary plea of not guilty, and he is in custody. He's being held currently without bond.
We expected to be excited and happy and overjoyed that he's arrested, but now we're dealing with understanding that there's a lot of reopening wounds that's coming with that.
Everyone knew who he was. I mean, he worked there for so long. For a lot of people, he was a key part of going to CVS.
It's just hard for me to believe knowing him. And as long as I've known him, that he would even be capable of doing something like this. There's no way he could have done that. And I don't believe it for a minute.
Coming up, Kathy Allen had called Brad and said something's wrong with Ricky. He's saying some crazy stuff.
This is a free call from
Ricky. Probably gonna have to kill myself now.
God. You can't be calling me and something like this.
In the fall of 2024, nearly 8 years after the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German, a local pharmacy technician, Richard Allen, a married father, is standing trial for the horrific double murder of 2 teenagers. Despite global interest in the case, Special Judge Fran Gull ruled no cameras, laptops, tablets, even phones in the courtroom, leaving reporters to rely on handwritten.
I agree with Anna here, 100%. Great comment. Something important is hidden and covered up. I agree with you. And in my opinion, that is related to the Dropbox of Keegan Klein and Anthony Schultz. That's my opinion.
Notes for what was expected to be a month-long trial.
Opening statement from Nick McClellan was about a bridge guy, a bullet, and a brutal murder. And that was what he needed. That's what he said he needed to prove, was that Richard Allen was the bridge guy who was shot in video that was found on Libby German's phone. He needed to prove that the bullet that was found near their bodies came from a gun that they found at Richard Allen's house. And he needed to lay out how brutal the murder was.
I thought that's pretty thin. I hope if they're going to really be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Rick Allen committed this crime, I hope it's a lot more than a bullet, a brutal murder, and a bridge guy.
Here we just saw Andrew Baldwin, and I know you like him. He's a nice guy. He's a smart person, but I think that the behavior of the defense in this case was, I'm gonna be heavy, it was a shame, because they were not using the best strategy to defend their client. They went full Odinist theory. They didn't care about the Keegan Klein's angle and the Ron Logan's angle here to defend Richard Allen. In my previous video, I explained why. What was behind that? It was because the firm of Bradley Rossi was defending Richard Allen, Ron Logan, and Keegan Klein. So, or at least the associates of Bradley Rossi. So there was a conflict of interest here. They didn't want they didn't try to how can I explain this? The easiest way to defend your client is to use the Keegan Klein or the Ron Logan strategy angle. They didn't use that strategy. Why? You know why. There's a conflict of interest here. So part of the blame goes to the defense. For real. If you are a pro Allen person, you have to be critic to the defense because they were not representing their client properly. You should expect the defense attorneys, the defense lawyers, to go with the client's angle or with the Ron Logan's angle. They didn't go with that strategy. I don't know, guys, if I'm being clear here, and maybe you disagree with me because this guy, Andrew Baldwin, he looks like a nice guy, but there's something behind the scenes there. You know what I mean? And I'm fine if you're mad with me because I know that some of you are being mad right now, but it's not normal. The same firm defending Richard Allen was representing the interests of Ron Logan and Keegan Klein. So something's wrong there. Something's really wrong. So I'm very critic with law enforcement, but I have to be very critic with the defense. Seriously.
Really be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Rick Allen committed this crime. I hope it's a lot more than a bullet, a brutal murder, and a bridge guy.
According to the state's case, the murders happened between 2:13 and about 3:50 p.m. Although no specific time of death was ever introduced at trial, their timeline begins with Allen's arrival at the trails, which the state says is 1:30.
Aka Raider, I love you, you know that, but I don't buy that. I don't buy it. The Frank's memorandum was not about Keegan Klein, and it wasn't about Ron Logan at all. You know very well that Andrew Baldwin and Bradley Rossi, they didn't push the Ron Logan or the Keegan Klein's angle. They pushed the Odinism angle. They had tunnel vision, and that tunnel vision, it wasn't just because they were convinced about the Odinism situation. It was because that was the best way to clean their hands in this process. It was the best way to clean their hands because they didn't need to talk about Keegan, they didn't need to talk about Ron Logan, and they went just full Odinism. Why? Because there was a conflict of interest. And guys, I know you're mad, I know you disagree, I know you don't like my words here, but for real, it's not normal. If you want to defend Richard Allen, and if you think he's innocent, you have to go with the more logical angle here, which is the Kleins, which is the Logans. But they went to go to the Odinism theory, which No one is gonna buy it. No one is gonna buy that at all. Let's continue here. This is my position here. Sorry, guys. I know you don't like it, but this is what I think.
His car was captured on surveillance video. Abby and Libby arrived just before 2.
So a crucial marker is this Snapchat picture of Abby on the bridge. It was taken by Libby and uploaded at 2:07 p.m.
It's an incredibly important photograph for a lot of different reasons. Where's Rick Allen in that photograph? He's not there. The state's theory is that Rick Allen is following Abby. He should be behind her. They're halfway across. Rick Allen, 5'5.5", maybe, tiny little shoes, had to run, smokes a pack of cigarettes a day, would have had to have run all the way across that bridge to catch up with those girls.
The next item in the timeline is the video that Libby recorded on her cell phone of the man on the bridge. It was recorded at 2:13 p.m., 6 minutes after that Snapchat picture.
See, this is the path that we are on. There's no path going there, so we have to go down here.
Guys.
Down there. I was surprised at just how short a time we saw somebody on the bridge, and all of a sudden somebody is just there, and then trying to figure out what they were saying back and forth. The prosecution had an idea of what they were saying, but I'll be honest, in court I didn't hear that.
During the search of Richard Allen's home in 2022, almost 6 years after the murders, officers would find a blue jacket like the bridge guys. But no DNA or blood evidence is introduced in court from that jacket or any other item.
Come on. Of course, that was not the bridge guy jacket. Of course, it wasn't. You can clean that jacket multiple times in your washer. You're always gonna have some piece of blood, some trace of DNA, some trace of fiber, some trace of particles. Of course, it was not that jacket. If you want to destroy the evidence, you're gonna burn the jacket in a fire pit, like in the Keegan Klein's situation. The Kleins, they burn the jackets in a fire pit of at the grandmom's house. So that's just stupid. You're gonna find, in the case of Richard Allen, you're gonna find fibers, DNA, particles in the car, in the jacket, in the house. They didn't find anything. Come on, guys. Obvious, Let's continue here. Just watching this triggers my temperature. Let's continue here, guys. My mouse is acting weird.
And Richard Allen, who's committed no crime ever before this, before he allegedly does this, and he's so sophisticated, he leaves no DNA. That's just another. It's hard to swallow that.
Yeah, the lack of DNA, and I'm no expert on DNA, but I have to think that something would be left somewhere was the whole point, unless he really didn't have that jacket. But they're clearly, without DNA and without any kind of blood anywhere, anything like that, even years later, was questionable.
To show the brutality of the crime, graphic photos from the scene were displayed on a large 85-inch monitor. Abby is dressed in Libby's clothes, lying on her back. Libby is naked.
So here, guys, what do you think about this picture? We have Libby here. This is the branch, sticks. This is the tree. This is Abby. We have the sticks there. This is a pool of blood, sorry. And we have sticks above the pool of blood. What do you think about this? This is weird. There are some theories about the sticks being like an element to try to conceal the bodies, which I don't buy at all. It's just insane. But let's say, if you give some credibility to that theory, which is just bad, in my opinion, okay, if you are concealing or hiding the bodies with sticks, with branches, why are you going to hide or to conceal a pool of blood with sticks? It's just crazy, you know. I am just trying to understand. Doesn't add up. Doesn't make sense. There's a pool of blood here, and you have sticks above that pool of blood. I want to hear your opinions or your ideas about that, because it doesn't make sense. I could understand, and being far-fetched, that the sticks are an attempt to conceal the bodies. But are you telling me that the sticks are an attempt to conceal a pool of blood here? It doesn't make sense at all. So, I don't know. What do you think, guys, here?
Naked, lying next to a large tree. Both girls have large tree branches over their bodies. Abby died from a single cut to her neck. Libby from 3 to 5 cuts to hers.
That was one of the toughest days in the courtroom. So to this day, like, I'm going to cry. Try not to get emotional, but it was an emotional day in court, I think, for anyone. Whether you were there for Richard Allen or you were there for Abby and Libby, regardless, at the end of the day, this is 2 teenagers who went on a walk on a seemingly normal day, and they never came home.
A dramatic moment in court happens when the forensic pathologist, nearly 8 years after the crime, suddenly has a new theory about the murder weapon.
Dr. Roland Kaur did the autopsies, and he...
This is really bad. This is really bad. Oh my God. And I think this is a very important element for Richard Allen to succeed in an appealing process. I don't know anything about law, but the whole situation about the box cutter is just bad. It's just bad. So the whole theory that the state presented during the process, it was related to Richard Allen being the only one or the only actor involved in this crime. But for law enforcement to reinforce that idea, they needed to use the box cutter element. Because remember this, at the beginning, the coroner or the guy who was conducting the autopsy, he said that the injuries of the girls were committed by 2 different weapons. That means that there were multiple actors here in this crime. But at the time of the testimony during the process, the same day the coroner was giving his testimony, he changed his mind. He said, "Oh, by the way, I just realized that the murder weapon was a box cutter. So I'm trying to, I know that you know this, but he was trying to imply that if the murder weapon was a box cutter, this crime was committed by one single person and not by multiple perpetrators." So they changed the whole narrative during the process. But the worst, that now we know that according to the testimony of Reese Davis, Ron Logan, he was uh, confessing about a box cutter in 2017. So this is just a mess. I don't know if you followed my thinking here, but it's bad. And anyways, I'm gonna play the video. It's gonna be maybe more clear if we hear Barbara McDonald here in this video now.
Originally believed that there could have been two different weapons involved because of the cuts on the girls. And then 6 years later, on the witness stand, he testifies that he suddenly now believes it was a box cutter used to kill the girls.
So he makes that comment on the stand of, must have been a box cutter. That had to have been the murder weapon. And that was a moment that you noticed the defense sort of perk up. Like, what?
The reason the defense was so upset that the pathologist had changed from two knives to a box cutter had to do with the most compelling evidence that the prosecution had, Richard Allen's own words.
Hello, this is a free call from
Ricky.
Just to answer to Shay, no. Not everything is okay, but whatever. We are here to move on. And that's why I'm gonna just continuing playing the video.
Mommy?
Yeah.
Are you there? Are you there?
Yes, babe. Yeah, babe.
What's going on?
I just wanted to apologize to you.
What's going on, sweetheart? Are you not feeling well? You did what? What?
I killed Abby. I killed Abby and Luddy.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
So prosecutors claim that Richard Allen, in one form or another, confessed more than 60 times, and a handful of those were played in court.
Not all of the confessions came from Richard Allen's mouth. A number of the confessions came from those reports that the other inmates were detailing. This is what Richard Allen said. Another, some of those other ones were confessions that he made to his psychologist inside of the jail.
It's really important for the state's case that the forensic pathologist changed his opinion from there being two murder weapons, two different knives, to being one weapon, a box cutter, because that aligns with one of Richard Allen's reported confessions.
After 2 weeks of testimony from more than 40 witnesses.
That's very important here, guys. This is a very important element of the case. And let's just repeat it, because it's not only related to Reese Davis, to the Reese Davis testimony. It's just that it's bad. Come on. Your whole theory during years is that there were multiple weapons used to commit the crime based on the injuries that were inflicted to the girls. So that was pointing to multiple perpetrators. And just right there, just the day of the testimony of the coroner that was conducting the autopsy, he changed the whole theory. He just said that, oh, by the way, I just had a realization Yesterday, I had an illumination telling me that the murder weapon was a box cutter. And you know that he did say that because one of the confessions of Richard Allen was related to a box cutter. So that was not free. That was not gratuito. I don't know what's the word in English. Anyways, it's just bad. It's just bad. But they didn't know that Ron Logan, he confessed to Richard Allen about the box cutter in 2017. So this whole situation is just bad. It's a mess. It's a fabrication. So I don't know if you follow my ideas here, guys. I know some of you follow. Sometimes I'm not able to express my ideas properly, but let me know in the comment section if I'm being clear here or not.
Witnesses on Halloween, 2 years to the day after Richard Allen was taken into custody, the prosecution rested its case.
I was still waiting for, there's got to be another shoe dropping here somehow.
And even with the so-called confessions, and even with the bullet, there was so much reasonable doubt.
Coming up,
I kept thinking, well, will they put him on the stand?
jaw-dropping new evidence from the defense.
And I can remember sitting next to the same reporter who also said, holy, is that what the answer is?
Interview with a Killer. New season premieres Saturday, October 25th, only on Court TV.
By early November 2024, after 2 weeks of testimony in the prosecution's case, it was time for the defense to take center stage in the case against Richard Allen. By far, the most compelling evidence against Allen were his multiple alleged confessions, which defense attorney Andrew Baldwin was ready to attack.
No, I mean, I evidently did it. No, you didn't. Why would you say that? Because maybe I did.
People would tell me I'm crazy. Well, he's confessed to it. And I said, it's not a confession.
So the defense has a big problem with these confessions, and they try to fight them by saying that when he made these confessions, he had lost his mind. And their theory is that the state intentionally sent Richard Allen to a place that they knew would break him. After his arrest, instead of going to the county jail, they sent him to a maximum security prison.
Richard Allen was held at the notorious Westville Correctional Facility, a former state psychiatric hospital, where he was placed in a protective cell that was monitored 24/7 by cameras, other inmates, and guards.
It looks like a medieval kind of torture place with some old decrepit buildings.
He had all kinds of issues at Westville, and basically pointing to mental breakdown.
His mental health deteriorated significantly, and his physical health deteriorated significantly. He just lost a ton of weight, and every time we'd see him, he was less and less together mentally.
I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I've lost my mind.
Richard Allen's first confession happens in April of 2023, and that's about 5 months after his arrest and around the time that he was diagnosed with psychosis.
The conditions that he was in, the fact that the prosecution put on people who were there to monitor him all the time, would I have been able to handle that? I don't know if I would have I don't know if everybody would have gotten to the point of saying, I killed Abby and Libby, but you could see where the defense had some kind of foothold to say, he's not there at that moment.
A defense expert who studies the effects of solitary confinement testified that anything over 2
Yeah, this bothers me a lot because he's convicted thanks to his confessions, and this guy was in solitary confinement during more than 1 year. So this is just unacceptable. This is bad. I don't know, guys. I don't know anything about law, but I think this is the most important element for Richard Allen to succeed in the appealing process. Richard Allen being in solitary confinement for more than 1 year. And of course, because of that, his confessions are not just credible. And you know that is my point is not because I think that Richard Allen is innocent. I don't know if he's innocent or if he's guilty. I think he's involved because I try to connect the dots in a different way. But anyways, he didn't have a fair process. And because of that, there's a lot of unsolved questions here. And I want to have an appealing process that is going to be successful. For us to be able to answer those questions that if we don't have the answer, it's just this case is just bad. Just bad. Let's continue here.
2 weeks in solitary is basically torture. Even Westfield's warden admitted he'd never seen any inmate endure the 13 months of solitary that Richard Allen did.
And we know that some of Richard Allen's confessions were false. I mean, he claimed that he had started World War III, that he shot Abby and Libby in the back, and that he had killed his entire family. All of those things provably false. The one confession from Richard Allen that lined up perfectly with the state's case came from his prison psychologist, Dr. Monica Walla. She told the jury that Richard Allen told her that he intended to rape Abby and Libby and used that box cutter to kill them.
Dr. Walla was a Delphi fanatic. Okay, she walked the bridge. She listened to podcasts. She knew about this case before she got on with Rick Allen, and I just imagined her being so excited about this tragedy, and now that she can get involved in this tragedy somehow. And Rick really liked her. That was the sad thing.
Next, the defense introduces new evidence from Libby's cell phone that was contained in the original extraction report, but the state overlooked.
Wired headphones have been plugged into the phone at 5:44 p.m. on February 13th and unplugged at 10:32 p.m. on the 13th. It was right there in their data. Literally, they didn't swipe far enough to the left. And it says wired headphones in.
When she got to that moment, the person who sat next to me said, "Holy." And so we both were dumbfounded by that there was a brand new timeline that they were suggesting.
The defense expert said one of the reasons why somebody might plug headphones into the phone is to silence it. And think about it. This is a time when Abby and Libby are missing. Their families are desperately trying to find them. At 5:44 p.m., right as those headphones are plugged in, a call was coming in from Libby's grandmother. And even the state concedes by that time, Richard Allen is long gone.
According to the state, Libby's phone was under her shoe, under Abby's body from 2:32 p.m. on February 13th until the bodies were found a little after noon on the 14th.
Yeah, that whole situation about the phone, the explanation that the prosecution side is trying to push, trying to explain that the sudden resurrection of the phone was related to a water damage or dirt present in the cell phone is just hard to buy. I don't buy that theory. I agree that something happened with that cell phone. Some device was connected to the cell phone. So I don't know. I'm not an expert, but when I was listening to the defense expert, I think what's her name? Aldrich? I forgot her name. But she was really bright in the explanations she was providing was credible. So I don't know. Again, another fishy element. I'm not gonna buy the whole water damage explanation because it doesn't make sense at all.
After 17 days of testimony and more than 60 witnesses, both sides rested their cases.
We felt good. I mean, we were nervous. It's the worst time for a trial lawyer is that time frame after the jury walks out to deliberate.
And as it dragged into day 4 of waiting for that answer, I really thought it was going to be a hung jury. I just thought there was no way either side made their case. I didn't think that either side had nailed it down one way or the other.
Yeah, I agree with him. I think that the perfect outcome or conclusion would be a hung jury. Not innocent, not guilty, just hung jury. I don't get it. We know that the jurors, they didn't hear anything about Ron Logan. They didn't hear anything about King and Klein. So we can understand why that conviction was happening. You know what I mean?
Coming up.
And I could tell you when the verdict was read, everyone was crying.
I was shocked.
This isn't over.
After a month of testimony from dozens of witnesses, day 4 of deliberations falls on Veterans Day 2024. Richard Allen, who served in the Army National Guard, will likely spend the rest of his life behind bars if he's convicted of killing 13-year-old Abigail Williams and 14-year-old Liberty German.
We are all gathered out here. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Delphi, Indiana. And we are waiting.
Monday morning comes, and so quickly we get a notification.
Sorry, I was muted. So, anyways, let's continue here.
There's a verdict.
Guilty on all 4 counts, unanimous by this jury. The defense did ask to have the jury polled. They all affirmed that that was, in fact, their verdict.
I could tell you when the verdict was read, everyone was crying, both Richard Allen's family and Abby and Libby's family.
I was shocked. I really was surprised.
As usual, I was muted. So, anyways, forget about it. But hit the like, guys. Hit the like. Support the channel. Support the Cryptex channel here, guys.
That we waited that long and it came back guilty.
For that to happen on my watch? It's awful. I was just numb. I hate losing ever. I really hate losing when I think I shouldn't.
I'm wondering how the jury didn't find reasonable doubt. I'm criticizing my own lawyering. I know there's a lot that we could have done differently, and that's the life of a trial lawyer, is you got to move on. But that's impossible. It really is. I'm never going to move on from this case, even when Richard is finally exonerated at a new trial. This case is never going to leave me.
At a press conference right after Libby's grandfather speaks on behalf of the families.
I really wanted to take the time.
I agree with you, aka rather. Barbara, she knows a lot. And in my opinion, she's not able to talk about the whole information she has, but it's a great comment. So this whole video is gonna end soon, but the last 2 or 3 minutes of this video are really important. And let's focus. Let's have a little bit of concentration about what is going to happen here, because this is the strawberry of the whole dessert here. So I don't know if I'm being clear here, guys, but just pay attention to the next 2 or 3 minutes of this whole video, because everything is here.
To send out my appreciation that justice has been served for the girls. I want to thank the jurors. I hope they get a chance to see this, that they took time out of their lives and remained open-minded and objective, and was able to look at the information and deliver a verdict.
How about we start to heal now? How about we hit that reset button and understand that justice in this country was served? And if you don't like justice in this country, go to another one.
During that question and answer period, I wanted to know, does this conviction now mean that all those other men that were looked at, men like Ron Logan and Kegan Kline and others, are they all now cleared?
This is the perfect statement. That's the perfect statement ever. Let's repeat this, because it's gold. I know it's not breaking news, but come on. This is the whole summary of this case. What she just said is gold. It's the whole situation here, guys.
Clear? Can you use that word?
I may not use that word clear, but what I can tell you is we don't have any other evidence that ties them to the offense at this time.
I think when Nick McClelland can't say...
I'm gonna come back. Couple of seconds back below.
Clear? Can you use that word?
Men that were looked at, men like Ron.
The information and deliver a verdict.
How about we start to heal now? How about we hit that reset button and understand that justice in this country was served? And if you don't like justice in this country, go to another one.
During that question and answer period, I wanted to know, does this conviction now mean that all those other men that were looked at, men like Ron Logan and Kegan Kline and others, are they all now cleared?
Does now mean that all the other men are cleared? Can you use that word?
I may not use that word clear, but what I can tell you is we don't have any other evidence that ties them to the offense at this time.
I think when Nick McClelland can't say...
Come on. Again, it's clear as crystal that law enforcement, they know that there are multiple perpetrators here. We know that. You know it, guys. I know it. Law enforcement, they know it. It's just crazy.
Other people that were suspects are no longer suspects. He just can't say that with a straight face. That should cause alarm to everybody. This isn't over.
My hope for the trial going into it and throughout the whole thing was that the girls' families would find an answer and find some peace. And, I still hope that. I hope that no matter what everybody else is talking about, he's guilty, he's not guilty, he's wrongly or.
I mean, if you have two neurons in your brain, you know that this case was not closed at all. So you know that we are still waiting for answers. So again, I hope the appealing process is going to be successful. I'm not very optimistic about it, but who knows?
Rightly convicted is that the families come away with some kind of peace.
For me, justice for Abby and Libby is the need for no justice at all. I think what is important is talking about who they were while they were living. And that's what's most important to me. I really want to make sure that people know that they were good people and that their lives are constantly part of everyone.
Exactly, rather. Two different blades during 8 years. Two different blades, two different type of injuries. That element was pointing to multiple perpetrators, and they changed their narrative just like that to push the narrative of one single actor here. Is they think we are stupid, They think we are stupid.
Who knew them's lives?
Richard Allen was sentenced to 130 years in prison. It's unlikely he'll ever become eligible for parole. I'm Ted Rowlands. Thanks for watching Victim to Verdict.
Thanks for watching Cryptex. I don't know, guys. What do you think about this? Again, I'm very, very. Let me copy the. Come on, guys. Some of you guys, you have to call, please. This is the worst situation here in my channel. No one is calling. Come on. I need one caller tonight, just before ending the streaming. Come on, guys. Hit the like, subscribe if you're not, and whatever. While waiting for the caller, if that's gonna happen, I'm gonna play a song that I love, and if nothing's gonna happen, that's gonna be the end of the streaming tonight. But for now, we have still 5 minutes. We can chat. At the meantime, this is Erasure A Little Respect, a song that I really love.
Hi, Cryptex. Are you muted?
Sorry, Veronica. How are you? Happy to have you here.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. Super. I love
I
when
just,
people is calling. How
yeah,
are
I
you?
wanted to. I'm good. I'm good. I just, I called in.
Cool. So just feel free to talk about it. What are your opinions about the case, about the streaming tonight? Just feel free. Go ahead.
Sure. I understand why you still think that Rick Allen could be involved. Um, but I struggle with that, and it might be the state's fault. I just don't, with everything that we know, especially since the FOIAs, like reading everything, I still cannot put Rick there with the generic thoughts of, well, he said he was there. He lied and said that he wasn't on the bridge. Um, when he was on the bridge, his car, and that's when I have to back things up. There's a reason why the state didn't want to allow geofencing, which Nick McClelland had used geofencing in the past to help his clients. But this time, Nick, I feel like he didn't want it to be used because he knew he would lose because Rick wasn't there as they were trying to say when he was there. Another thing is in the interrogation, and this has not been crystal clear, is like what did Rick wear that day? Um, Rick was like a black or blue windbreaker, but he wasn't even able to finish his thoughts to gather them because every time Rick would think, then the two would jump all over him. They would either speak over him, answer for him, or they would switch gears. So in those interrogations, you can clearly witness that he just wasn't able to finish a thought. And Kathy Allen, and the investigator, I know she's working on this, which it shouldn't be hard to receive. And this is what upsets me about the defense is that they should have was able to get the tag off the jacket during the trial. Um, but Kathy Allen said she gifted that to Rick like in 2019, 2020. He didn't have that jacket at that time. And then he didn't have a jacket that went missing. So that jacket that they have out, that they're showing in court, like this is, Rick's jacket. Well, that jacket doesn't really match the BG video, in my opinion.
No, no, great, great thoughts. And tell me about you a little bit. How did you start following this case? Tell me.
Oh, yeah. So I'm not from Indiana, but I visit there a lot. And so about the age of 4, we had extra time when my family flew in for business, and they took me to Indiana Beach, and it just became a place that I loved. So every time as a family we flew in for business reasons, we always made sure to visit Indiana in the Monticello area. So we would always include extra time. And then for my birthday, it became a tradition to spend time there. And so Monticello is somewhat close to Monticello. They're side by side. Over the years, when you go so much, you meet people. And so the day that the girls went missing, I just happened to be on the phone when it was said that two young girls were missing. And so we talked about it then. And then it just, because of how the events went about, it just became like a conversation between me and a few of my friends. And so they were they were keeping me updated with everything. So I knew from the moment that the girls went missing that something wasn't right. And then because of my friends, they're all older people. I want to say they're 70s now.
Mm-hmm.
But they were able to tell me like what the rumors were being said, what, the events that was going on, during the search up until the next day. And then again, more rumors were coming about. And so I've, visiting Monticello, sometimes I would go through Delphi, and there's a few little shops there that I would gather things. And so I don't know like a lot. I only know like two families from Delphi, but um, I know more people in Monticello, business owners, is who I really know because they're there more year round. I know some of my friends, they don't live there all the time. They're not there full, round here. They're just there in the summer months, like spring to early fall.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I was able to know about the case and get all the inside scoops of what was happening.
Interesting, interesting. And
Yeah.
do you have any theory here? I know that you are a very like pro Allen person, let's say, and I guess
Well,
because he didn't have a fair process. I don't know. That's what
it's
I.
not even it's not even the fair process. That's just it. It's not even about the fair process. It, I don't know how to say this to where because there's so many thoughts at once, but how things were done in the beginning, and like I said, this was just coincidental. Like I know I would have heard about it eventually, but it just as the timings was, I just happened to be on the phone as it happened, and I think that what really, really concerned me right away is just what the searchers were saying. I remember hearing, Becky Patty saying they've got our girls on the 14th. I was able to know certain things about the crime scene, and then the rumors, the people that were discussed, and the rumors that it's like one big story. That is for me. I just got done working out. By the way, I was listening to you while I was working out, so I'm sorry if I'm out of breath and like I'm
No,
recovering from
it's
working
fine.
out. So
No,
I'm
no
so
worries.
sorry.
No worries.
Um,
Go ahead.
but so the rumors all still make one big story, and it's bizarre how just how the rumors form a story. And the people, and it's like you have the confession from, not the well, Ricci's statement, in May, and then you have Elvis Fields. It's just, we thought that this case was going to be solved right away just because of what was being said, and it appeared to be so obvious of what it was and what had happened and who did it. And then, so as time went on, I remember flying in at the end of 2017 when Indiana Beach was getting ready to close, and I was visiting, and I was like, so there hasn't been an arrest yet? Like, this is wild. I thought there was going to be an arrest within like a few days, and now we're approaching a year. Um, so, and then I just feel like ever since then the things about the case just kept getting weirder and weirder. So if you were there present, to even like I want to say 213 because the rumors started 213 as the girls were missing. That is the bizarre thing. Like, why would the rumors start then? Why didn't it, start like a couple days later or just after they were found? The rumors started 213. And you just take all of that in, what happened that day, and me being at a good distance, just this is all just by phone. I had so many questions. Like, what do you mean that they turned away dogs? And when I found out like where the girls were located, what do you mean they weren't seen? And what do you mean they turned people away? Like, how did they not see them? And it just questions started immediately on the morning of 214. So I think over the years, if you think about how things were done, all of a sudden there's this Richard Allen. And I remember when I heard about it, I was like, well, who is he? And so I am not a sleuth, but I did try to look into things about him, just like, did I miss something or did I forget this name? Or, it was just one of those things. And Rick just doesn't line up with anything that has been said over the years. There is no match to anything. I cannot connect him to anything that was previously said. And then it really confirmed it to me in those interrogations. Like he and Kathy weren't even sure what vehicles, who drove what that day. Um, but yet, they're insisting that this is, what Rick drove that day. And it's for sure his car, but it's been proven that it's really not Rick's car that's on that footage, that little still shot. It's things like that that really make me suspicious. It's like we have all of this, the cameras are everywhere. Why are you taking a picture of a still shot of a screen? Like, why didn't you just get a copy of it? So, it's weird. It's just like, why would they make Richard Allen a patsy? I don't know. Is it because he really didn't know anybody there? He was the guy there that said that he wore something similar, not exactly, but he was similar and his times were close. So is that how? But then yet you have other people, men that were there that they wore something similar too. And then I remember hearing about the amount of people that were there, but yet not all of them were questioned.
Yeah,
And
good point.
so, yeah, it's just like, and so when people were trying to come up with the timeline, I'm just like, why are you wasting your time? I know because I tried. Well, we don't even have an account for when everybody was there. And like Rick had said, he was like, I was probably there from around 12:30, 1:30. Before 1:30 I left. And then the wording really got to he was there between the times of 1:30 and 3:30. Well, he kind of was if you think that he didn't leave at one exactly at 1:30 because he was there then between those times. He wasn't there at those times, but he was there between those times. So it's a word salad game that was really, I think, played. um, there are so many cameras. There's no reason why we didn't have a better image. Even if they were to look at those cameras and view them for 1 or 2 weeks prior, you can't tell me that you're able to pull off that type of crime, gruesome, to just like a quick moment shot. Like, that's a better job than most serial killers do. So, and in such a quick, short of time too, by the way, like that's going to be a record. Um, So it just like, why didn't you study the footage of the 2 weeks prior? Why wasn't that your first priority? Why didn't you gather the footage when the girls were still missing? Why wouldn't you immediately start looking just to see if you could see them and get an idea of where they went? But then, of course, we know what happened to them. So then why didn't you get the footage, at least 2 weeks worth just to see who was fishing around, lurking? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I honestly don't even feel like they really started this investigation until 2019. And that's another issue. Those girls, in my opinion, deserve better. They deserve a lot better. And then, people want to laugh at this Odinist thing. I didn't know what an Odinist was, but that was something that Becky Patty mentioned right away. It was like a scene out of a play or a movie. That's what what the crime scene looked like. But then, here comes to the defense. They get blamed for bringing up the Odinist thing. They get blamed for, creating this bizarre, wild story. And it's just simply not true. It was something that was looked into on the night of 214. It was very clear that the LE reached out to a church for assistance for an understanding of certain signatures that were left.
Yeah,
But
no,
yet that's all dismissed.
those are great points. But
Thank
I
you.
no, thank you for calling. I'm very glad. I love when people are calling here. Uh, I understand clearly that you are a pro Allen a viewer or subscriber or whatever.
I'm a pro
There's
truth. If
some,
Rick Allen,
but
hey, if I can see evidence that shows his guilt, I'll
yeah,
be like, damn, that was great. But no, like I have to see the evidence.
yeah. But I'm curious. Do you have any theory here or not at all?
I have a few.
Yeah. What is your fear? What is your
I
feeling?
think I want to keep it a little hush hush. Um, because I have a few theories and then they all intermingle and I don't want to bore anybody, but I
No, no,
definitely
come on.
think that the girls were lured there.
Go ahead.
But yeah, I think those girls were set up to be there. This wasn't a by chance. This wasn't a by chance thing at all.
Yeah. I
Truth
don't know.
seeker, I thought they had a few cameras around.
Anyways, there are a lot of unanswered questions here, and
Hmm.
I don't know if we are going to find that answer someday. I hope again. I hope
Yeah.
the appealing process is gonna be granted, and maybe that's gonna be like a way to find some answers here. You know that my angle here, and this is like my logic works. Let's say I'm very very hard into the Keegan Klein's angle. What do you think about the Kleins? What is your position about that?
I think somebody should have played the lottery that day. It's too weird. Like I said, I can never say this word, lured. I feel like the girls were set to be there. I I Keegan Klein talking with Libby, and there's something there about money. Like he sent her money.
Hmm.
Um, I honestly, I think there's a connection.
Okay.
I think, but So here's the difficult part, cryptics, because I started this with the Flora fires because I too think that those two are related. But then I had to pull myself back because you have all of these little tiny towns. The biggest town that you have is, the area it would be Lafayette. So you have a lot of the towns, the tinier ones come together and they intermingle. So when I was looking into Flora, I
Veronica,
thought, okay, yes.
Veronica, you have to give me like 40 seconds. I have to go to the toilet. I'm
Okay,
coming
I'll
back.
keep talking. Okay, I'll
Yeah,
keep
keep
talking.
talking. Keep talking, please. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so with every time when I was looking into Flora, all the names that I was getting for Abby and Libby were coming up for Flora as well. So I took a pause, and because already that was my feeling. Like you have this scene of the four little girls. The neighbor was fine. It's just who you're or the second person that lived up in the attic area, I think. And then Becky Patty had just, appraised that house, yada yada. You start doing the crisscrossing, the people that know each other, the firemen, just, and then with the story of that scene, and then you take the story of the crime scene. Again, the names just kept crossing each other, and then I had to step back because I thought small towns intermingle, and so there's always that chance of them knowing each other somehow, whether it be an acquaintance to an actual friend. Those are completely different things. So there's always going to be an association, or this person knows somebody, and they know all of these people. Well, this one person from this group knows somebody else from over here with the Keegans, and then that will then lead you over to Brad Holder, da da da. So I think you can still have the Keegan route and still question Elvis and Brad Holder. That's just, I don't know. But then again, is it the small town thing? Is it the names crossing over? Is it acquaintances? Is it, oh, what did Tammy said? Rob. Oh, Tammy. See, and I believe that. I went back and forth on it, but I always come back to, if you solve Flora, you're gonna solve Delphi. And I was hoping once Delphi got solved, then the Flora would be solved. But I don't think they have the right person for Delphi. So that's why Flora is still in the wing, which Flora should never have been in the wing. The Flora fire, it was known it was arson. It should have been handled and received just as much attention as Delphi, and I don't apologize for that.
Yeah,
I just
I have to confess that I'm very ignorant about Flora. I need
hmm
to explore more about that. I know that there are potential connections between Flora and Delphi, but
there
we have
yep.
another caller here. So
Oh yay.
yeah, hello,
Hey guys,
Eve. How are you?
I can't see who it is.
It's Eve.
it's Eve.
It's Eve. How are you, Eve?
Hi.
I'm good. I have a question
Sure.
that I've
For
always wanted to ask the masses about the possibility that a group of men or whatever, a group of unsavory people would frame
hmm
or set up a group of easy targets like Odinists.
Yes.
to make it look like one thing when it's really just they don't want to get caught doing really bad things and talking to young girls. I've always felt like the perpetrators would always have this mindset of we do whatever we have to do to not get caught. And now that we know about the monkey app and all of the other things that were hidden, it might be even beyond just, you know, predators. It's predators that infiltrated into law enforcement, perhaps.
And I think that's
What
where
are
the
your
symbols
thoughts?
come from. That's where the symbols come from. I think it was a message. I've always
Right.
wondered if it was not like a signature, this is what we represent. I think it was a message to somebody. And I used to think that Ron Logan, like, okay, so I didn't know all the bad things about Ron Logan because every time that I spoke to someone about Ron Logan, I thought he was they made him look or sound like a cute little grandpa, you know. So I used to think that people knew who Ron Logan was. It was like a message to him, to law enforcement. Somebody would know what that message meant, the signatures at the scene. So I've always felt that's why that was left.
Yeah. Well, I'm from Texas and I don't mind sharing this story if you don't mind.
Hmm. Oh,
But
please.
it's about Kokomo. Um, when I was 11, which was good Lord, 20 something years ago, I was into, AI and Messenger, Yahoo. I was, living in a sense. Getting into chats I shouldn't be in for sure, no doubt. Um, and this was like literally the first month of me exploring the internet. And it was such a big deal back then because you had AOL, you had all of these things just right there. And
Hmm.
the generation, our parents didn't know how to really look at these things. So anyway, I was definitely being groomed by a adult male from Kokomo, Indiana when I was 11 years old. Absolutely. And long story short, he has been arrested not because of anything that he said to me or what went down there, but later on, he was caught with CSAM and all of that stuff. So um, I think it was about 4 years after stopping contact with this gentleman or piece of shit, excuse me.
Hmm.
He got arrested for completely separate stuff. So thank goodness, right? But it's very ironic that me, a girl at the time in Texas, who had no business talking to a 27-year-old male at the time, is from Kokomo, Indiana. And I think we can all agree that it's a problem in
Hmm.
Indiana alone, that there are a lot of predators.
Yeah, I have to agree. I have to agree. And the Kokomo names even tie in with Flora and Delphi. That's the bizarre thing. Kokomo and
Hmm.
Anderson. Anderson, Indiana, which I guess I've been to Anderson once. I just don't remember it. God, that's so scary to Texas.
No, it's an epidemic. It's an epidemic in Indiana, and I don't know if it is because we are so focused on this case, but the amount of predators, the amount of people involved in CSAM in Indiana is just insane, just crazy.
And they have to
Right.
have forces, they have to have task forces to take them down because local police aren't doing it.
Right.
And in the 2000, like 2010 onward, you started to see the task forces and DOJ taking these people down finally. And there are so many people I've spoken to from Rush County and, you know, um, not necessarily Carroll County, but everywhere around it,
Where's
Evansville,
Rush located?
um,
Is
Rushville,
Rush close?
Loganport.
Okay, so that's close to Delphi or Carroll
Hmm.
County, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, there was a girl missing from Delphi in 2016 that I didn't know about. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if she was ever found, but she was from Alabama and made her way
Oh,
to Delphi. And Alabama contacted Carroll County and asked to put a thing out, and no one ever heard anything about it. It was one article. Now I don't know if they found her, but I thought that was very interesting that she ended up there from Alabama.
okay. So Eve, last week I almost reached out to you because I was like doing a search. We know of all of these murders that have occurred around Delphi, Carroll County. I cannot find all the death records. Can you? Have you tried doing that?
I have never had such a problem finding things in any other case but this one. And yeah, I
Okay.
have issues. Here's the thing. I think that some families might be a little embarrassed, if you will, about who was marrying who, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And maybe it was too familial. And so I think sometimes it's misrepresented because sometimes it just doesn't even make sense when you're doing the lineage. So I don't I don't know. I just go by the newspapers usually, more so than like Ancestry in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I've had a lot of issues.
Yeah. And then I struggled with pulling up fires. Like there's nothing I mean no, it's a course, but the search didn't give me much and I said this is simply not true. We know that there's been more arson than what you're listing here. They make that town seem like everyone lives so long and they die of natural causes, or it was just a small little kitchen fire while cooking an apple pie. And it's just not true. Like it's
I,
weird.
so you're local?
No. So I visit Indiana frequently, I want to say from about the month of April until about September, and then I go back in December for business stuff. So that's so
Okay.
oh, I was telling everybody else. So how I became aware of Delphi is because we had flown in for Indiana. I was about the age of 4. I say about the age of 4, maybe 3. And we were early, so we went to Indiana Beach, and it just became a place that I fell in love with, like in love with. And so I met people, because once you go so often, you run into the same people. Like there's so many mom and pop shops, blah blah blah, mom and pop shops out there that you become friends with them, and then eventually they became like a distant family. You would just pick up right where you left off. And so that's how I knew about the case. And I happened to be on the phone when it was said. We were going over numbers about something. And then that's when someone came in, said something to my friend, and it was about Abby and Libby missing. And it went from there.
Did you ever hear anything about any theories or talk about um, photographers or railroad
Yep.
fanatics?
Yep.
Okay. So everybody just hear me out if you don't mind. Okay,
Please.
cryptics.
See, I feel
Um,
like you tell stories better because, like, I just got done working out when I was listening to Cryptic, so I was out of breath. And then I feel like you're able to speak more about it because my brain goes in circles with so much information. It all comes together, but I don't know how to make it to come together without being long-winded. So please
I get it.
I
No,
beg you. I
I'm an
beg you.
ADHD. Like I'm the max dosage you can get ADHD. So
Yeah.
I get it. Um, so so back in 2018 or maybe even 17, I had heard about the girls had gone missing about April or May. And so I was like, okay, I heard about so many things in the Facebook groups. I was in all of that stuff. And I remember looking at Google Plus. So Google Plus back then was a lot more open source when you would go behind the scenes, if you will, for businesses to target audiences and stuff and see where people are. It's basically skip tracing,
Uh-huh.
but they did away with Google Plus now. But back then I was really into that, and I could when I would sleuth, I wanted to see, who was commenting on like Google Maps, leaving reviews, things like that. Well, somehow I figured out how to target that area where the girls were found within like a 5 mile radius and attach like photography, because I think I had heard about someone being on the bridge that was taking photos. So I was like, okay. And then anyway, long story short, I got to a hit where there were two people around the bridge. One was at the end of the bridge and one was down ish area. And the metadata
Uh-huh.
on these photos were uploaded to Flickr. Flickr, if
Yes.
anybody doesn't know, is
Mm-hmm.
a place where you can put all your photos in and you can actually make money, um, letting people use your photos for whatever. Um, so anyway, I actually captured, screenshotted at the time, someone taking a picture of that bridge at 2:30, and then at 3:33 they uploaded it again. But the metadata, when you upload those pictures, it gives you the camera details when it was, when the flash went off. It's very specific. And so I have the names of these two individuals, and ironically, they're railroad fans. Of course, I
Uh-huh.
sent this off. Did I lose you? Can you still
Oh,
hear
I'm
me?
here. I'm
Oh,
listening.
sorry,
Uh-huh.
I got a call.
I'm intrigued.
Um,
Oh,
it always happens that way. Uh, but anyway, I have these two individuals. They are friends on Flickr, and they're friends in real life. Sorry, I got another call. Um, I have their metadata. They are on the bridge. One is down the hill to the left, and one is on the bridge where Libby would be standing and Abby would be standing, but just a smidget back. And this is metadata that was available for the whole world to see. And I have sent this off a billion times. And recently I just found out who they actually are, their actual uh, profiles. Like I connected them finally. And so I'm hoping people will kind of look into that, because these two individuals work on the railroads, the Southern, I think it's called Norfolk Southern,
uh-huh.
and the Winnemac. So I know that there's a grain silo down the way there by the bridge. And I'm wondering if they were lured to the bridge specifically that day because they were familiar with that area. Because you would think that if somebody is luring two girls in a remote area that they're familiar
Yeah.
with, that they're probably there a lot or know very well what they're doing. And it would make sense that these individuals, you know, would know the area because of that grain silo. Because the train goes into the grain silo, and it's an agricultural railroad right there. And it takes it, I think, to Logansport, or it can take it back down south to Lafayette. Well, these individuals are from Lafayette. And so I'm really hoping that people will look into it to either debunk it, help me debunk it, or help me prove it because I don't see anybody really. It's not going anywhere with law enforcement. It hasn't for years. So maybe if you guys want to just look one
Well,
day.
yeah. Is it the type of camera that would be on a tripod?
It was a camera that could be, yeah. Um, I just here's the ironic thing. They deleted that photo. I want to say in May or June of that year. So, sorry, 2018. So did they not realize that they were there? Or did they just not want to be involved? Like they could be completely innocent and just don't want to deal with police. I don't know.
I think I think that was a lot of the issue with people that were present at the bridge. Because if you listen to the state, they make it seem like there was like less than 12 people there. It was just a few people. And at the time of Abby and Libby, it was just Betsy Blair, Rick, and Abby and Libby. Um,
Yeah, I thought maybe it was um the girl with the camera because she said she took her dad's camera, right,
uh-huh.
to the bridge, and I don't know what kind it is. It looks kind of fancy, but it wasn't like just her cell phone.
Okay, Eve. So the crazy thing is that right away on 214, it was said, which I didn't see it, but it was said that there were tripod markings at the scene. It was obvious that it was a tripod. And I was like, how? But I'm not a camera person, right? So I don't even like taking selfies. I don't know, but just anyways, ADD. So they said that there were tripod markings at the crime scene, and that helped went along with what Becky Patty was saying about how she described the crime scene as like it was a scene from a playbook or a movie. It was telling you something. And so then I was like, oh, but the tripod, like
Hmm.
that,
Well, and
you
it
know,
was
it,
very
it
popular to lure girls, and still is. Come and take photos for whatever it is, and we'll give you money. We're doing a
mhm.
scene, but it's very secret. And young girls who might just think that they are larger than life would be like, cool, yeah, I like money, I want more freedom. And she was at that age, both of them. So I mean, it's just a possibility
Well,
that they
um,
could feel I feel like they were comfortable being on the bridge and going to look for a place to go down the hill. It wasn't like they were panicked, you know.
no, I didn't get that impression at all. But then I'm used to the public, and so people say that I handle myself very like in person. They would never know if I was stressed. So that's why I've never really critiqued how the girls behaved because I just thought that they would have like a natural touch to them about how to handle a situation. But in my opinion, I don't think that they look scared or wondered or concerned. You know what I mean? I just that's not the vibe that I get from them. But it's just so interesting because with the Anthony shots, people say like it's oh wait. Oh, about the tripod markings is that you have Anthony shots or Keegan Klein, and he, here he is. It's supposedly he's got this underage ring happening, but yet he's the only one that's arrested, with a Dropbox, and people are like, well, it doesn't really matter, and I'm like, yes, people participating in what he was doing. Or, where's the customers or where's the people that were giving photos to sell? Like, this wasn't a free gig. He made money off of it. So yeah, we should have had more than one arrest of Keegan Klein for sure. And then with the tripod markings were said that those images were put on the dark web. Like those crime scene photos have always been out there. I believe Ives is the one that said it. Um,
Yeah, it was too
inter-
staged almost. He gave that
battery on
impression.
my earbud just died. Sorry. Are you there?
We're here.
Yeah,
Oh,
I can hear you.
yeah. Are you there?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Be stupid. Hold on here.
I mean, unfortunately, there's only two options. Like what I'm trying to get at with these theories, or my theory, which is a damn good one because I have metadata to back up my claim. And now that I've found these persons that are connected to these two Flickr accounts, and some of the stuff they have on their Flickr profile is questionable. The groups that they're in. Um,
We have another people calling here, guys. Give me just 1 second. Hello.
Okay, Eve. Sorry, I couldn't hear.
it's no problem. I think somebody else is coming on.
Just go ahead. Continue.
Was it a troll?
So, but Eve, that's why I'm interested in the Flickr pictures because I think you showed something from Flickr already on Rick Snae's channel.
I did. Hmm. But it's
Okay,
on X too. I put it out there.
okay. That did interest me then because of that was one of the first things said about the crime scene was the tripod marks.
Yeah, and this gentleman did have a tripod now that I'm thinking of it, at least one of them, because I remember seeing, so these railroad fanners, they go all over the place and to capture specific um, steamers or whatever train they're into, they will go to all over the place. And I remember seeing him having a tripod, one of them. So one of them, their name is David, and the other one is Kenneth or Ken. And I believe that Ken could be the son or a cousin or nephew rather, but it's neither here nor there. They are all railroad fans and work for the railroad there. So, I mean, either way, there's nothing that ties Richard Allen to it. And I was actually looking at that route, like maybe he was acting as an alias and it was him, but that is impossible because I have their connection to their actual Facebook and Instagram pages, and they have rap sheets. These guys are not good people. Um, and they do have ties to Monticello, which there's a lot going on there with predators. But they also have a few ties here and there with jobs with, unfortunately, paving, like with Ned Smith's business. These people have worked in that field. So yeah, if people could just look into it maybe and see if they
Well,
could debunk it or if there's some validity. I
yeah,
think it could.
that's what I'm thinking. Like, will you DM me? Because like my thing is did Veronica hint who? No, I didn't write her. It just I don't know. It's the tripod thing is the tripod, the black web, and it's just bizarre that it wasn't brought up at trial. Like it was a huge thing, right? But then yet it was ignored at trial. And what I'm finding another odd connection is when that quote unquote leak happened, that Judge Gold, like Nick McClelland was writing to Judge Gold before the recipients received their quote unquote leaks, their emails with the images. And then
if it's been on the dark web, then it's not really, it's not a leak. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
But I feel like, okay, so I'm sorry, my brain is thinking. There's something about those images with the tripod and the dark web. And
Yeah.
that goes back to the Keegan Klein Dropbox, and then it goes, listen, it's small town. It's, I forget what they call that, associated by something of a
Guilty by
whatever.
association. And yeah, that's exactly what's going on. So sometimes you'll see these news um, things that will say 50 plus people or 150 plus people busted in a large scale sting operation. Well, that's because these predators only deal with each other in secret, and there's a lot of them, and they work together to try not to get caught.
Hmm.
This is more lucrative than people think in terms of money and in terms of how far they will go to not get caught. I mean, these people are thick as thieves together, and why? Of course they would be, because this is not a good thing. This is a horrible, evil thing, and they have to keep it secret.
Well, I think they all work together. I think even the railroad people would go, even with the truckers. um the semi, I also think, like I said, it's just the connections of people, of who knows each other, and then the things that they're into, and then again that would tie into prison, that would tie into the Odin symbols at the scene. I don't know, or maybe I'm saying too much. I don't know, I'm sorry, guys.
Well, I've always had a feeling that this was snuff related. I don't know if that's,
Yeah, I think it's snuff related.
I really do. And I think that people who, especially younger males
Uh-huh.
who were these predators when they're younger, they don't, like Keegan Klein was obviously very negligent in his hiding, covering up his dirty deeds, because he's the one that got a search warrant to his home. Um, and that you always have the dumb ones that get caught
Mm-hmm.
and bring the whole thing down, which is great. And I think that when you're younger and you're a predator, pretty much, these men are, they know that they are at a very young age, I would say, and it doesn't go away. And
Right.
so these younger guys don't really care much. They think that they're invincible because young and dumb. And it would not surprise me that it was somebody in their 20s or 30s. A lot of people think that these are older gentlemen because of Ron Logan, but I think it's probably people that were actually doing the kidnapping and the killing and things like that are probably younger than we think.
But I also think, I can't help but think, this is going to get me in trouble, but I'll say it. I also still think that I won't say a name. How's that? One of the girls, I think there's a connection to the family, and I feel like that message, someone in the family would understand it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What message?
Well, you have a pile of blood. If a killer is in such a quick, like, to get this thing done in 17 minutes, you mean to tell me Richard Allen is going to be able to tug all these branches at his age? Like, if he was younger without the heart problems, sure, but these branches that are just as, in length as tall as him. And then he's like, oh, look, I got to run up here because of this white van, but there's a puddle of blood. Let me go get some twigs and sticks and make a design on top of the blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not trying to give Brad Holder or Ron Logan any leeway at all, because I'm still not convinced that they're not involved.
I mean, he said it was on, like, Brett Holder made a post about the crime scene, about Abby
Yeah.
and hit her chest, you know? Like, if you're,
However, how easy would it be to see somebody do that on Facebook and be like, let's go and look at like uh these Odinist dumbasses and let's pin it on them. I could see some young guys who are predators totally do that. Totally, absolutely be like, let's pin it on these assholes because it was two staged. Like, if you want to get away with a crime, you're not going to build it when you just posted about it or you've
I
been
know.
posting things about it, you know?
Well,
Not to mention, there are federal FOIAs that I've done on people who were researching these Odinists prior to their murders,
right.
like they were studying them.
And then plus there was that one trial the day on the 13th of the bikers.
Right. Oh, and by the way, these two individuals are very close to the Monticello biker group.
Yeah. See? That's why it's like one big connection. It sounds nonsense. It does, but that's why I think I honestly like the Odin thing, because it's Odin is an umbrella of different types of pagan beliefs, right? So I think the
Hmm.
ones at the crime scene, it was related to the prison, and that's why those symbols were there. It's a message to somebody. It's a message. And then if you're in prison and if you're being a snitch, if you're there's a lot of nastiness. I don't want to bash the family. It'll sound like I'm bashing them even though I'm giving facts. It hurts my heart. When you build relationships in prison and you've got one doing drugs, you've got one doing sexual stuff, you've got another, it all comes together and they all join, possibly with those symbols from the prison. Ask the truth. Ask the truth. Ask the truth. Ask the truth. Yeah, the prison one. Ask the truth. So I think that's why I think the men are well versed in what those symbols are. Kind of like Brad, he was like, "Yeah, I know this symbol. Oh, I know it says this, but I forget what the like when he was doing his interrogation." Um, that's why I feel like the branches on the girls meant something to somebody, but I don't
See,
know
I
who.
don't.
Oh, you don't?
I don't think that it meant anything. It was two stage. Like they didn't even get it right. Mm. They just put a whole bunch of the same rune that doesn't really mean anything in
Oh,
regards to every that's not true story I've ever read about that specific meaning of the rune. It doesn't make any sense. And I really truly think that it was just in my opinion, staged because of even Robert Ives said that the oddities of the crime scene didn't it was just too, put together.
and that's where I thought it was trying to tell a story, as what he described it as well. And that's why looking at the sticks, because when I first saw the pictures on 214, I didn't know what the branches meant or that it was in a shape or what, you know what I mean? Like I didn't know any of that. Um, so once the arrest and things were discussed, that's when I was like, oh, also true. I get it now. That was that was the scene. Or no?
Yeah, I think that it was definitely that's where I think the snuff part comes in.
Okay. So the snuff. So they weren't the actual symbols, but it could still be It's you got my brain thinking.
Well, like
Dana,
if you're gonna do something, like let's just say that I'm Brad Holder and I'm an Odinist and I'm around all of these weirdos. The first thing that I would not do is make it look like I'm the one there. That's just an idiotic thing. I mean, do you want to get caught? You know? So don't put branches and runes in the form of runes on these girls because you don't want to get caught unless you do. But he hasn't given us any indication that he wants to go down for these murders. So it just does not make any sense to me. It is.
the reason why it made sense to me was because right in the very beginning, it was so that Ellie was involved.
Well, and that's pretty much the alternative theory is that it's so blatant that they know they're not going to get away with it, and that has to deal with corruption. That would be a corruption thing to me because they knew they could get away with it.
Right. And I felt like that's what those symbols meant. But so those symbols actually didn't. I thought they actually formed two different symbols of like the hangman and the other card, the one that Brad Holder painted.
Well, actually, what he painted was the story of, and his wife at the time was Wiccan or whatever. So she was into tarot and all of that stuff. And it was kind of being okay to integrate the two into Odinism, but really, that's not what the hangman is. It's an actual story. It's a story of Odin and all this stuff. Um, that I can't remember the details on, but they hanged a brother of Odin. It didn't matter. It was not necessarily related to the tarot. So, but I could see how people would think that because Amber Holder was into that shit. Um, And like I said, I mean, it could still be very blatantly them, or or it could be somebody trying to pin it on them or in their little posse. And I say that because of again the federal FOIA requests from law enforcement studying Odinists prior to their death. That is huge to me. Like, and a lot of people don't know that, but it's a fact that
Right.
people were looking into Odinists in Indiana specifically
Mm-hmm.
prior to their murders. So it makes it look like they were studying them.
I remember right when Rick was arrested and you had criminality and Bob Mata talking about the case, and I would repeat in chat, there's an Odin Den's tattoo or Odin Den tattoo parlor shop right there in Carroll County. Like, what do you mean that they don't know what Odin is, right? And I loved it once like Bob saw the tattoo shop and then he was like, hey, and guess what? FYI, there's a so it really opened the eyes of the it was a thing there. It was definitely a known thing in that area. And sort of like the four young girls, the mom, she was dating a guy. I don't think he was really into practicing Odinism or Asatru or Norse pagan, but he was intrigued by it. And he too was wearing necklaces and getting tattoos, and a lot of his friends. Um, Again, you had the drugs. I don't know what type of drugs besides weed. I don't know. I don't think that's a bad thing, but he had a lot of affiliates that was into Asatru, however you say it. So that's why it's just so weird. That's why another reason why I thought it was a symbol or a message or it means something because of the flora. And then it, a black woman dating a white man, and then you have Abby's mom. Oh, it just makes me sick. Abby's mom dating a black man. I just hate certain subjects. Sorry.
No, it's a very difficult thing, and all I
But
know is that you know, some people are going to look at it like we need to see who actually committed these crimes, which is good. But in regards to Richard Allen, there's really, you don't even have to do that, um, because of the just amount of bullshit that they tried to push this narrative on Richard Allen. And it's obvious that in a perfect world, most judges would not rule the way Gold ruled. And she, in my opinion, specifically guided this trial to convict him. And I think a lot of people agree. And I think that his appeal is strong. So what then? So let's just say he gets a new trial and he is found not guilty. We're still in the same position, right? As when everyone started sleuthing this case. Who did it?
well, so overthinker, I call her Tinker. Also another connection with the racial stuff is that I learned at one point, like Carroll County just was anti-Mexican, and Richard Allen's daughter married either a Mexican, Puerto Rican. Oh, he's Chinese? I don't know. That was another thing with the mixed race thing that goes
Well,
against.
wait, Richard Allen's um, son-in-law was Filipino, I
Yeah,
believe.
Filipino. Yeah, that's why I was like, wait, what's the Chinese? Yeah, Filipino. He's Asian, but I'm not sure from. Wait a minute, Filipino. He's Asian, but I'm not. Is he a mix? Anywho, so you have the three people and the crimes. You have four girls with an arson. You have Abby and Libby, I believe, with a snuff, and then you also have Rick Allen's daughter with a Filipino, Hispanic, Asian. Regardless, it's not quote unquote white. Yeah, cryptics.
But I mean, like, I don't see a lot of instances where they're retaliating against the children of people who are making these choices, you know?
Oh, if you go back into Carroll County stories, this is what I learned that, like, I believe it was like it was in the 80s was their last hanging. There's yeah, it's a very now in Monticello, because being, close to Chicago and the amusement park, they would bring in all different type of cultures, but Johnny Messer was Asian, but I was told that it wasn't appreciated once they actually moved in. They could visit, but not move in. It's always been, like, I guess, a rule. It makes me sick to say that out loud because that was something I never knew. Oh no, is Cryptix gone?
I'm here,
Okay, good.
listening to you guys. This is your show tonight. Go ahead.
Cryptix, we're taking over. What do you think?
That's perfect. That's the reason of the show tonight.
Well,
Just listening to you guys. It's awesome.
I love
Yeah,
them. I wish we could have a place where we could all just like come together, brainstorm.
for sure.
Um,
That's the idea.
so what do you think, crypto? Syntax
Crypto,
with everything
crypto,
that's being said.
crypto, the weirdo.
What do you think of what we've talked about tonight?
No, guys. First of all, thank you so much for calling. That's the idea. I'm happy to have you here, guys. And Look, this case is just insane. Um Everything here is fishy. Everything here is weird. So I understand the different theories or angles. Everybody here is, I don't know how can I explain this, but we don't buy that law enforcement bullshit, you know. And I'm not in the same line of you guys, and I understand you pretty well.
But
You
that's
think
cryptex. That's why we need to come together, right?
exactly right. I I understand your point. I understand your point of view in this case. Uh, I am transparent about this situation. Richard Allen, he didn't have a fair process, and this is concerning. So again, we don't have the whole. We don't know the whole history here. We don't know the whole story here, and we don't know. There's a lot of unsolved answers, unsolved questions. Sorry, and I'm not a pro Allen person, but I'm not a pro prosecution person. Something is blurry here. We don't understand the whole story, so I'm not gonna blame people thinking that Richard Allen is innocent. You have your reasons, and it's just bad. This whole case is just a mess. So, and I'm happy that I can have you here, guys, talking about your ideas, your theories, your point of views, because something is not adding up here. So I don't know. Again, I hope that the appealing process is gonna be granted. That's a way to obtain some answers here. So let's see. I don't know, guys. And
I think
I
the
think,
probable cause is their biggest mm,
yeah,
thing. Like that will be what gives him a new trial, in my opinion. Watching the appellant judges and what they rule on, they're very big probable cause rulers. They tend to reverse high profile cases, murder trials, based on that probable cause, and there's so much crap has happened with that, and we don't have metadata on the photos of the bullet and all of those things. So I think that's their best chance, in my opinion.
yeah. Let's see. And anyways, guys, it's almost 3 hours, so I think I'm gonna stop the streaming tonight. Again, thank you so much, Eve, and thank you so much,
Thank you,
Veronica, for
Cryptex. I
calling tonight.
I appreciate you.
Eve,
And
can you go live and we can continue? I don't.
for sure, this platform, this channel is for you guys. So tomorrow I'm gonna do some streaming about the content hearings, the testimony of Skip Johnson. You know that I'm not very comfortable about the way Fake Solves is behaving in this whole situation. In this case, there's something fishy there. So I want to dig up in that aspect. So tomorrow is going to be about that. And maybe if you want to call tomorrow, you're welcome again.
Uh, Cryptex, I thank you for letting us have a safe place to come together and just, chit chat. And I'm just so open to ideas. And with everything that we said, I want you to think about, and maybe can you do a live and just like squeeze in how you feel Rick, is connected to what we've discussed with the things that occurred.
Sure, sure. Let's do it. Why not? That's
Yeah,
a
and I
good
and I
idea.
and I feel like if we continue to have open discussions like this, then maybe we can continue to grow and learn. And I'm not saying that that's in the very beginning. I said I really can't give, my theory because, well, we just spoke for 2 hours about my theory
Cool.
with the help of Eve. You know what I mean? So, and that's why the way it all comes together, though, it still manages to all come together, I think.
Yeah, for sure. This is your channel, guys. So we're gonna continue keep doing this type of I don't know streamings, this type of conversations. And again, thanks to you guys for calling, for telling
Yes,
your
thank you.
theories
Thank
to
you.
ideas, and yeah, I'm just gonna end the streaming tonight, and we're gonna keep in touch, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Have a good night.
See you. I'm just gonna play a song before leaving, and remember to hit the like, guys. So that's gonna be the end of the streaming. Thanks again to Veronica. Thanks again to Eve. See you tomorrow, guys. See you. Bye bye.
I try to discover a little something to make me sweeter. Oh, baby, refrain from breaking my heart. I'm so in love with you. I'll be forever blue. That you give me no reason why you make me work so hard. That you give me no, that you give me no, that you give me no, that you give me no soul. I hear you calling, oh baby, please give a little respect to me. And if I should fall, would you open your arms out to me? We can make love, not war, and live in peace with our hearts. I'm so in love with you. I'll be forever blue. What religion or reason could drive a man to forsake his lover? Don't you tell me no, 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 so